Coming to you live on location, this is the Between the Benches podcast, where we will discuss anything and everything hockey related. Let's drop the puck and get the action underway.
Well, that was cool.
All right, and welcome in everybody to another episode of the Between the Benches podcast. As always, it's your host, Dak. Hope everybody is doing well. We are presented by Old City Sports Network. Make sure to check out oldcitysports.com for all your favorite podcasts, articles, blogs, everything's flyers, hockey. I think Jesse even does video games, so just in case you like doing that, check out the promo code Old City for 15% off site-wide. We also have our merch up on the store. Use promo code Benches15 for 15% off. And I'm joined by my two esteemed Canadian colleagues this evening. We have gutter riding Graham Faw and big Canada daddy Brock Finch. How are we doing, fellas?
Oh, I know how the Leafs fans doing right now.
Okay. You're gonna have to muzzle me.
Yeah, I was gonna say we gotta save it. We'll get to it. We'll get to it. But yeah, I figured he's on cloud 17 right now. I can only imagine.
That's about right.
Okay. Yeah, just like I think it was Whitney the other day. Like, who needs drugs when you have playoff hockey? You know
oh God, yeah. This is better than any drugs you could possibly take. So much better.
Who said it? Was that Aaron Ekblad who quoted that?
Nice. Nice.
Yeah. Who? Oh man, I can only imagine. Well, I'm glad to have you guys in this evening. We do have some really good playoff hockey to get into. We have some other news to get into. Let's go ahead and jump around the rink, shall we? So, and this Around the Rink, by the way, is sponsored by IronSteelThreads.com. Make sure you check out IronSteelThreads.com for the great hoodies, shirts, other hockey designs apparel. They do come up with new designs every month. They are made here in the States, so that's pretty cool. And you can use the promo code OldCity10 for 10% off. Also, proceeds do go to youth hockey organizations. So pretty cool. People helping people. And I wanted to start with Monday night. I don't know if you guys saw this or not, but the Islanders are the big winners this week. So Brock may be the real winner of everything with the Leafs this evening. But the Islanders won the draft lottery. They jumped up. I believe it was 10 spots. They jumped from like 9th to 1st, if I'm not mistaken. Pretty big, significant, I guess, jump or a chance for them to. I mean, I had to read back exactly how the algorithm works or how like the ping pong balls associated with like who wins the lottery. So I guess my biggest question is, do you think the Islanders are the biggest winner? Because I would almost argue that Utah is the biggest winner. So I'll let you guys take the floor and tell me who won the most here.
I mean, you're not going to find out until 3-4 years from now, maybe longer. Usually I want to go with the first overall pick.
I mean, I think both teams are in unique situations where, like, I think trading back this year with the class that we have in front of us is going to be a big talking point, especially once we get out of the playoffs and the next thing on the agenda is the draft itself. I think that's when you'll really see a lot of that start to pick up. And I could almost guarantee you that one, maybe even two of these top 5 picks get traded back. I'd be willing to bet that there's some sort
based
of
on what
there. Well, every single podcast I've listened to has suggested it so far. So including Elliot Friedman. I listen to 32 Thoughts pretty religiously. And again, we talked about this a little bit off pod between the three of us. Like, what's the big difference between? So you got Schaefer as the consensus top defenseman, but after that, you've got like 2 or 3 guys, maybe 4, depending on how you want to look at it, that are all, I'm not going to say the same, but share some similarities where you might be content getting, like, let's say you have Misa and Porter Martone as a similar level player. They're both centers. They're both, skilled. I think one's significantly bigger than the other, if I remember their size. But like, if you value them the same and you think you can get one of them at 3, why not just trade back to 3? You know what I mean? Like, if you think
that's assuming the Sharks, who draft at 3, want one.
Well, the Sharks are 2. The Sharks are 2.
Oh, that's
Chicago's 3.
So Chicago would have to want one of them more than the other. Otherwise, why would they trade?
Right. And again, it's all about like the package that you're getting back. I don't even know what these trades could even possibly look like. You know what I mean?
I mean, they're not going to give up next year's first.
No. Obviously not. I'd imagine we're talking let's say Chicago wanted to move up to first for the sake of this discussion. I have no idea if they do or don't. Doesn't matter.
Who wouldn't want to move up to first?
Well, I mean, yeah, to get your guy, sure. But let's say they're really hard up for Misa. They really want to guarantee they get Misa. So let's go trade a second and a third with our third overall pick, a second and a third rounder. Second and third rounder along with that third overall pick to go up to 1. That's the kind of trade that I'm talking about.
I mean, I could see it, but I also think that the top talent in this draft is very limited. So I think those first few picks are that much more important to hold on to.
I almost think it makes it more of a bargaining chip, though, because the Islanders, I feel like they're in that in-between stage. I feel like they are in a position to actually trade that number 1 overall pick just because of the situation that I think you just alluded to, that next year's draft seems to be a little more covenant. At least at the top, you have Gavin McKenna is kind of the next Connor McDavid, if you will.
Save that for the offseason.
Stated that way.
I also,
I did
have the point I want to make when it comes to the Islanders, though, is it's not Lou Lamoriello anymore. So whoever is stepping in gets to mold the team's future the way he wants to by drafting whoever he wants in this draft class. Well, it is the first step towards building his legacy as a New York Islander GM. And I don't think you trade down for that. For a second or a third, who's gonna help you build more? A second and a third rounder?
No, it depends.
Or the first overall.
Imagine, I think this scenario I'm about to outline is more likely for Utah, but let's say
I agree. I'll agree with that.
I think that if someone's offering an NHL now player that's not on a say cup contender, I can't even possibly think of which team would fit this bill, but bear with me for the sake of this hypothetical. Let's say a team approaches you, okay, we want that 4th overall pick. We'll give you this NHL ready player, which Utah, in my opinion, should be trying to acquire. They should be trying to get NHL ready talent. This pick at 4th overall is a gift. They went from 14th to 4th. Yeah. I don't think it makes sense for them to make this pick. I think it makes sense for them to go out and use this pick to help them get better next year, not for 2 to 3 years from now. That's the kind of trade that I think makes the most sense for Utah.
What quality of a roster player, in your mind, dictates giving up that 4th overall pick?
It depends on the contract. It depends on the age.
Are we talking top 6?
I would imagine a top 6, maybe even an RFA that doesn't have a contract could make some sense. Will Cooley? I mean, I think that's a bit. RFA. I think that's a bit
that's
below.
Why I say that.
I think it's a bit below the level I think you could get for a number 4 overall pick. Again, given the first 4 or 5 names that are going to be there. Picture a Chris Kreider, but he didn't just have the year he just had. That kind of player. Does that make sense?
Like a Hyman?
That might be a bit.
If you can get a Hyman, I think
that might be a bit rich. But yeah, that kind of thing is what I would be looking for. You're not going to get a superstar, but try to get that good supporting cast character out of that pick. That's what I would do if I were Utah.
Well, we'll definitely see. Yeah, we'll definitely see moving into the offseason. I think you hit the nail on the head when you were kind of tooting the horn that this team should have gotten Brock Nelson in some way, shape, or form, because I think he definitely would have been a really good fit for them. Maybe they still will. Maybe they still will. The last note I'll leave you on this part, by the way, is if the Islanders would have beaten the Rangers in any of their 4 games this season, the Rangers would have had the number 1 overall pick. So, little fun stat for you, because they would have finished. They would have flip-flopped spots in the division,
right?
The Rangers would have had the correct sequence of numbers to become the first overall pick.
When I initially heard that, my brain kind of wrinkled a little bit because I'm like, I thought it was all random, but then I'm like, oh, how do they assign those random numbers that are generated, that's how they do it.
How you finish in the division.
Yeah, how they finish.
I thought that was.
It wrinkled my brain for like a good minute. I'm like, how the fuck does that make any sense? But I got there.
Could you imagine if they had to pick between
crazy
this year or next year? Like that would have been like the storyline of the offseason right there. But like I said, we'll save that for a later day.
Yeah, that'd have been
the next thing I wanted to talk about around the rink is Rob Blake is going to be looking for a new job. So he and the LA Kings officially decided to part ways. He's been in their front office since 2013. He took over as the GM in 2017. He compiled a record of 309, 238, and 71. But he was winless in the postseason. They never won a series with him at the helm. The Kings became the second team in major sports history, that being the NHL, MLB, NBA, and NFL, to lose to the same team in the opening round of the playoffs for 4 consecutive years. Can you guys name the other one? Just quick stat of the night.
Give me the league.
I was gonna say it's got to be football, eh?
No, it's actually the NHL. Believe it or not,
it's the NHL.
Oh, is it back in like the 80s?
Yes.
Like when the Oilers.
No.
Is it no Islanders?
Islanders?
No.
Graham.
I'm just gonna go ahead and say Calgary.
No, it was actually Boston. Boston lost 4 straight years to Montreal in the early 80s. I believe it was like 83, like 86 or 87, something like that. So.
Okay.
Do you think? I guess 2 questions. Do we think Jim Hiller is next? Because I had preached on our last episode that if the Kings lost, that his ass was going to be out because he literally cost them, in my opinion, he cost them Game 3 and he cost them Game 4. By the way, he traded that whole third period in Game 4. And then I guess we talked about it a little bit last week. Could Rob Blake fill the shoes of the Islanders? Do you think the Islanders? I think that doesn't sound like a horrible fit to me. Is having Rob Blake move in kind of in that same role that he was with LA. It's not like, LA was obviously they ran up against Edmonton, who has arguably the 2 best players in the league on the same team. So could you say that, you could probably say that it's got a little bit to do with that. Like maybe they should beat them, but like, it's not like they're losing like to these bum ass teams. Go ahead, Brock.
I will say this before Graham and I kind of give this a little more like meat. I'm surprised they just outright walked away from each other. I thought they might kick him upstairs and make him president. And it's not to say that he's done a bad job. Like the way they lost this year, you had to have change, which is why I don't think that they're going to go away from Hiller as well. I think that changing the GM is change enough. That being said, I'd have him on a very short leash, just because of the way that you're right, Dalton. Games, particularly Game 4, when they come out 3-1 going into the third, and just basically try to shell and let the Edmonton Avalanche down at them. Like it just, it's a very, very poor.
It's very questionable.
Very questionable decision there in that particular moment. Anything you want to add, Graham?
I think so. I'm under the impression that he walked away from the organization. Now, whether or not he was pressured to, but he was not terminated. He left.
Well, his contract was up, wasn't it?
That also makes me think that there is opportunity for him to work elsewhere in the league. For that. So I do, to Dalton's point, like the Islanders pitch. I do think that could be a good fit.
I've also heard Bergevin
kind of
which
in
is
between.
Also
you kind of, I just don't want the GM position to be treated like the coaching position where it's just a roundabout. Like there's no new blood. It's just, oh, you were here. Okay. Now you're here. And I don't think that's great for the sport. I think they're all safe, but you're not going to get any kind of groundbreaking ideas by doing it.
No, it's fair. And yes, to your point, Brock, he did not have a contract beyond the 2024-2025 season. So they were
he chose not to.
Shit or get off the
yeah.
We'll
never know. We'll never know.
Right. That's
Although,
fair.
fun fact, Rob Blake shares a birthday with one of us.
Nice. I'll give you 2 guesses.
I'll give you 3.
Nice. Oh my God, he's a Leo. His birthday's in August. I had no idea. Well,
Nice.
Fair enough. But yeah, like I said, we'll see how that one kind of. I think I don't think it'd be the worst move the Islanders could make. Let's just put it that way.
Well, they got to fill a position, and it's kind of an important pick if they hold on to that first overall pick. So I think there's got to be some urgency.
Yeah.
They're in a very unique position, the Islanders. We're on Rob Blake and the Kings, so I won't digress back to there, but they're in a very unique position. We're going to talk about them a lot going forward.
And despite not having playoff success, I do think Blake's done a good job with the Kings organization.
Which is what I was hinting at. Like when you look at all his trades, all the signings in a vacuum, a lot of them are pretty good.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of them are pretty, like, it looks like he wins or at least makes good on these signings for the most part. Like, look at that Kuzmenko trade.
Yeah.
Look at the Dubois Kemper.
Trade.
Brent Clark looks like he's going to be emerging.
Clark. Like, there's a ton of things to like about what he did. Fiala trade, yes, and signing.
100%.
There's a lot to like.
100%.
Very frustrating times if you're a Kings fan. Very frustrating.
Yeah, they just had the best home record in the league, and then they just got shelled on their own home ice.
And got, McDavid did. McDavid did? McDavid did.
Absolutely. And then the last topic here for Around the Rink before we get into what Brock came here for. The trophy finalists were named. Hell yes. Anyway, so the trophy finalists were named. Just to run through them real quick, we had the Calder, which is Celebrini, Hudson, and Dustin Wolf. Calder's obviously for Rookie of the Year. The Vezina Trophy finalists, we have Hellebuck, Kemper, and Vasilevsky. The Norris is Makar, Hughes, and Rowinski. For the Hart Trophy, we have Draisaitl, Hellebuck, and Nikita Kucherov. Ted Lindsay, we have Kucherov, McKinnon, and Makar. For the Selke, we have Barkov, Cirelli, and Reinhardt. For the Masterson, which I think is going to be is the hardest one to pick, in my opinion, this year, especially. You have Marc-Andre Fleury, Gabriel Landeskog, and Sean Monahan. Again, I don't know how you pick between Marc-Andre Fleury and Gabriel Landeskog for that one. I have no idea. And then,
I actually don't think Landeskog has a chance.
Ooh, that's fair. Yeah. I said, what a time. I mean, I guess I feel like you got an argument either way there. And then for the Lady Bing, you have Eichel, Kopitar, and Point. And then for the Jack Adams, you have Scott Arnell, Carberry, and St. Louis. So we'll see. Obviously, we'll spend some more time talking about the trophy finalists, but at least want to touch on them real quick. And like I said, for my money, I think the Masterson Trophy is the hardest one to debate right now. So we'll save that.
I also don't think there's a wrong answer. I think it's all feel-good stories.
Yeah,
where it just shines light on great things.
Absolutely. Watch it be Monahan and watch us be both wrong. That'd be
no. I can.
I would not be surprised. Yeah. I would not be surprised. His story.
I think Landeskog's the
leader of the clubhouse. Yeah.
No, I don't think he's the leader. I think he didn't play.
I don't know, man. Like the perseverance of it all, though.
I agree.
I don't know. Like I agree with Dalton. I think this one is like you can make a case for all three of them.
All three, yeah. 100%.
And they're all three very different stories, which I like.
Yeah.
Yes.
For sure.
Yes.
For sure.
But I did find one trophy stat that I want to say that Dalton's not going to like.
Oh boy.
Oh, is this with Nikita Kucherov?
It is.
Yes, I think I saw this one. Go ahead.
So every year he's won the Art Ross.
Yeah.
He has not scored a goal in the playoffs.
Yes, that is correct.
All 3 years he has gone goalless in the playoffs.
I know he has 1 goal in his last 16 playoff games.
Yeah.
It was against the Leafs.
Yeah. And
who hasn't scored against them?
All right. Well,
start a new goalie every game.
No.
Okay, well, here we go. Well, let's get into it. Okay, so we got the Eastern Conference playoffs. This is sponsored by Decals by Aaron. If you ever need, obviously, a decal or any kind of marketing made, hit up decalsbyaaron.com. It'll get you taken care of, get you straightened out. We're going to start with the Leafs over the Ice Cats. So real quick, we're going to flash back to Game 1. The Maple Leafs, took Game 1 on home ice. They almost blew it, but they almost Maple Leaf, but they didn't. They won 5-4. Stolars was injured in the victory. Nylander had 12 goals. He had 2 goals.
Oh, what?
God, yeah. They called off 7 of them. It was unbelievable. He had 2 goals in the win. He did add another one tonight, which we'll get to. This needs to be updated, but after this game, the core 4 had accounted for 33 points so far this season. Also, another fun stat is Toronto defensemen have scored 7 goals in the Stanley Cup playoffs so far this year, which is the most in the league. Go ahead, Brock. How'd you feel after Game 1?
I have a transition to that.
I was going to say, how do we feel about Game 1, though?
The Vancouver Canucks are paying Oliver Ekman-Larsson $23 million not to play for them.
Nice.
Since then, he's won the Cup with Florida and is now, I think, second of all defensemen in goals in the playoffs.
Is it behind his own teammate?
That's
Willis
a
Kelly?
fun
Add,
stat.
like twist the
Yeah.
knife with Vancouver
Yeah.
season.
Graham's like favorite thing in the world to do is piss off fans while they're down, like kick them while they're down. It was Buffalo last week. Now this week I'm kicking
Bring me the
Vancouver.
hate.
Yeah, I'm kicking Vancouver. No, that's a very fun stat. I mean, okay,
They almost leafed in game 1.
but they didn't.
almost did.
No. I'm gonna
Okay.
set this up. I'm gonna set this up the way I set it up.
More.
Yeah, I'm gonna set this up the way I set it up. I was on the phone with Graham during this. They had a 4-1 lead going into the third. That's a 3-goal lead. If you want to call yourself a cup contending team, that lead cannot go away. You cannot lose that lead in the third period. I don't care who the other team is. You can't lose it. And by God, they did not. 4-3, then 5-3, then 5-4. They never once blew the lead, which is why to me this does feel different, because the Leafs of old, and that's the one that I was literally like chirping into oblivion last offseason. They would wilter and falter, and I guarantee you they probably lose that game last year.
Okay, can
This
I just
year, they
request
did.
something from the production crew behind us? Can we just have a clip of Brock saying that it feels different this year?
Okay.
Just for future reasons.
For
You know, we
future
may not
reasons.
have to use it.
But just to have it, you know.
Now, again, there's lots to talk about. I don't know. You guys probably. Dalton, did you watch the game tonight? Did you
Oh,
watch
yeah.
all of it? Okay, good.
Oh, yeah.
So at least we have some reference points here. I can go back on with you. So staying in game 1 though, like I'm trying to stay in game 1 because a lot of it spilled over into game 2 with how chippy tonight got. The stuff that happened with Bennett and Stolars, man, it's really hard to stomach when he's now done it in back-to-back series against the Leafs. It was Nyes in 2023, and now he's done it to Stolars, and nothing, not even a fine. You know what's crazy? Tonight, he could have done the same thing to Woll, and you watch him put on the brakes. The play was almost identical, and he stopped, which makes me think he was probably warned, either by his teammates, by the coaching staff, maybe even by the league. That would be even crazier. But it's hard for me to understand the officiating tonight when they were so, maybe not nonchalant, because they did call quite a few penalties in that first game. So it's hard for me. All I'm saying is I think that the penalties haven't been called properly. Definitely in the second game. The first game, fine. But I don't know. What do you think, Dalton? Like, my brain thinks that those guys didn't know how the fuck to play tonight because the officiating
Also, with
was
the
all
Stolars, you didn't make it seem like you were that upset when it first happened.
The more you think about it, the more you watch it, I just think it's a dirty play from a dirty player who has a history of doing dirty things and no discipline. That's why
But your
upset.
initial reaction was a lot tamer than this take.
Well, I feel
Okay.
I feel
be
that
changed.
I actually think I mean he could have avoided contact with Stolars in that instance, but I think like the injury actually took place. And I'm not a medical doctor, I'll never claim to be, but I think the actual injury took place when he took that slap shot or that wrist shot off the helmet, and like his helmet got knocked off. I
You
think
see
that's
where the
when
puck went after it hit the helmet?
I think that's when the actual injury occurred because like
Okay.
And you literally, the camera was on him, and then he started like shaking his head, like he was kind of he got, it was.
You could even see it how he went down to make saves. He wasn't the same after that.
But like, what is a concussion? It's a shaking of the brain, taking that puck off the head, but that doesn't shake anything. It's not like he's like whiplashing his head all over the place.
Okay, chat, can we just have any goalies that happen to listen to this podcast and explain the damage that a puck
I'm not
do
saying it can't cause damage. I'm
from
asking
a
what
beer
level
league wrist shot?
what level
let
of a
alone-
concussion, what level of a concussion can taking a puck off the helmet
Again,
do?
this is why we're podcasters
It's
and not
fine.
doctors, though.
Exactly. That's a general question from somebody who has no medical background.
Well, I felt like that. Obviously, the contact that Bennett had with Stolars obviously doesn't help the situation. We can probably all agree on that. But like, I feel like that's kind of where it all started, was in that moment, because then he played for a little bit and he did seem a little like he didn't seem as alert as what he did at the beginning of the game. But then when he goes over to the bench and is literally puking over the side of the bench, like, Yeah, we got to get this man out of here because that's
I forgot.
like I told you, that's one of the first signs of a concussion is that vomiting. So go ahead.
I forgot that. I think it was Chris Nowitzki. He used to be a wrestler, but now he's like a doctor, and he's like a big leader in the CTE community. He had I think it was like a quote on what he saw. There could have been 2 separate concussions there. I think he called the puck to the head like a grade 1 or something. Again, not a doctor. Go if you Google it, I'm sure you can find it. We can have the stats department put it in our notes, our description here. But they could have been both a concussion in and of themselves. Like it's not just like one big concussion. No. You could have 2 in each of those instances, 1 for each. That's entirely possible.
It could be. We'll definitely see. But I mean, Wool did look pretty good. We did have a comment here on the Facebook side, or excuse me, on the Instagram side of things. I was looking for. I think it's Jesse. Yeah, Jesse Holbert. He said he's taken a shot to the head as a goalie before. So.
Oh, Jesse's like nice. Hey, Jesse, what's up, bud?
So we'll see. Like I said, Wool looked pretty decent tonight in net. The first shot he let in game 2 tonight did not look great, and honestly, the first 2 that he let in game 1 didn't look that great. But we will.
He was cold. I throw that game out the window.
We'll fast forward to game 2. We'll get back on your good side here. Yeah, we'll get the vibes back. So. The second game, I did take notes of this game. Honestly, the first note I had is Max Pacioretty is all the way fucking back, guys. He looks.
Don't say that. That's when he goes down.
He looks. He might, but he looks great right now. Did you know that he leads the postseason in hits?
That's what he does. He just runs around like a little mini freak. Yes.
And that's insane. Like, cause I said, just watching him from like the first shift he had tonight, even before he scored, I was saying to myself, like, man, he's all over the ice. He's making an impact. Man. And Florida scored real quick. Toronto got 3 power plays in the first period and didn't do anything with them. Or no, I guess they scored in the third one. But
that Florida penalty.
But that PK is just gnarly. Yeah. But yeah, Max Pacioretty had 2 points. Max Domi also had 2 points. You know there are 80 total hits in this game. Just to speak to your chippiness.
I'm not surprised yet.
And then the other note that I had here in my notes is that Toronto really had a hard time leaving their zone tonight, no matter what period it was. And I looked at
the forecheck.
They did. They got out, and
they live and die with.
The one stat that I really looked at was Toronto had 15 giveaways in this game, and they still found a way to win. So, I guess my biggest question is like, what has to change for Florida to win Game 3, and for this not to be a 3-0 gentleman's sweep? Like, see you later, have a nice day. You know, I guess we'll leave it to Graham before Brock gets on the sofa.
I was gonna say let's.
Well, no, I mean to be fair, I haven't really been able to watch this series as much. My time's been limited, so I think Brock would actually have a better unbiased opinion than I would.
Bram is biased because he picked Florida to win, so his opinion's moot. I think that I don't really have a really grand explanation as to why the Florida, because Florida did look like the better team for spurts of that game. It's just like the Leafs, whenever they had a chance, like that Marner goal was like. That ping off the bar was like less than, I think, 20 seconds. I think it was like 19 seconds after that third goal. Like just craziness. Their response to the Panthers' goals, like I don't know, man. It just, like I said, something feels different when you watch them play. Like I was really hard on. I'm only bringing this up because I know Jesse's here, or if he is still here. I was really hard on Chris Tanev, and watching him play these playoffs, particularly these 2 games against Florida, man. He has to be the best defensive defenseman in the league. He has to be. If he's not, I need another name. Like maybe Slavin, maybe. I don't know, man. Like he is so good for like the amount of pucks. Even tonight, I think he swept 2 off the goal line definitely in the second, maybe also in the third, or maybe I could have my timing wrong here. But again, I can't really put my finger on any one thing because the power. I said at the beginning of the series the power play and the penalty kill would be the big reason as to why one team. What did I say? I don't even know what.
No, Jesse just commented. How do your headphones make your head look bigger than normal, bro?
Nice. This guy. I said at the beginning of the series that like the power play and penalty kill would be big, and the Leafs haven't really done anything crazy good on the. Do they have one? I don't even know if they have one power play goal. Maybe one.
So are Barkov and Reinhart on the same line together?
Yes. And they're going one-on-one against.
That was my other question.
Yeah. And so they're just letting Nylander have the
Pretty
large.
much.
Who is it? Lundell?
No,
that who
well,
signed?
they could put him there, or they could put the Bennett Kachuk line against Nylander.
Okay.
They have three. They have like 3 first lines. Florida has like 3 first lines. It's ridiculous. It's unfair.
That was my other question too. Is when did Barkov start going by Sasha Barkov instead of Alexander Barkov?
Alexander is like a common.
Yeah. Well, I know.
It's like a translation kind of thing.
But my understanding was it was like a Russian translation, but he's Finnish, isn't he?
Yes, but I don't know.
Well, when did that happen? When did I miss the memo that
I've been doing it for years. Like
Alexander
I've been doing it for like as long as I can remember.
He's like they had his name as Alexander Barkov. I was watching on ESPN because obviously I'm in the States, but like they had Alexander Barkov, and then like in studio they'd call him Alexander Barkov, and then they go to the game broadcast, they would call him Sasha Barkov, and I'm like, what's this guy's actual name? Like, what's he called?
James.
I think Dalton's just seeing the word Sasha and his brain's like getting cross-wired because like I'm supposed to think it's a bad thing.
I mean, Dalton can barely pronounce hockey players' names as it is. So
We
let's
really-
just give him one name that he can learn.
We're doing an off-season segment where we just get you to pronounce names. Like we're absolutely doing that. That's happening.
Just like a Don Cherry video. Yeah,
Yes.
exactly.
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
Oh, all right. Well, we'll see what happens. They are going to transition back to South Florida. I believe that game is on Saturday, right? Because they get an extra day.
No, they play Friday.
They play Friday. Okay, cool. We'll have Game 3 Friday.
Shout out Jesse. I'm going to Jesse's.
Yeah. The sweep is still alive. I said Leafs in 4, so we'll see what happens.
Leafs in 5, baby.
Yeah.
Leafs in 5.
So we'll transition we'll go back in time here a little bit. I don't know if you guys saw the Hurricanes and Capitals game last night, but
I did not. I saw the highlights though.
I'm just going to start here. Are the Capitals in trouble? Because they literally only had 14 shots for the whole game. This game went to overtime. They didn't even register a shot in overtime. So they literally got outshot 11-3 in the third period. Stankoven is remaining. Could you imagine if Dallas had a player like Stankoven? I mean, it's just
nice.
Logan Thompson was really good. You couldn't ask more from him, but like, just tell me, like, how do the Caps look completely outmanned last night? Like,
I mean, let me just say that if the Stars had Stankoven, they would never have beat Colorado.
I think we were acknowledging that.
Yeah.
I think it was tongue in cheek. I think Dalton knew what he was saying.
Oh, yeah.
I think Dalton knew what he was saying.
100%.
Yeah. I mean, like I don't know, from the highlights, it probably didn't do the game flow much justice for, pace of play. But then when you look at the shot charts, my God.
Especially after the first period.
The Capitals were at home.
Yeah.
Like, good Lord, man. If that's the effort they put out and that's like the same story in game 2, fuck, Canes in 4.
Yeah.
Like
there were like
craziness.
4 or 5 bars hit in this game.
Yeah.
Combined.
Sure.
The Canes have hit the most post or crossbars in the postseason. I think it was 12. I think was the number. So just to give you an idea too, they lead the postseason,
and they've only played like 6 games.
Well, they're playing on smaller nets.
Okay.
Not fair.
Okay.
Nice. But yeah, I mean, I just felt like the biggest highlight that I saw for the Capitals was literally Tom Wilson taking Sebastian Aho's mouthpiece out of his mouth and like.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Just
The ref just like, give it to me.
I mean, Ovi had a shift where he hit a couple guys once. Like he was.
But like that was like Protas scored. Good for him in his return, which is great. We're always happy to see that. But like. They looked outclassed. Like Carolina controlled this game. Literally, I mean, you can argue the first period was like the Capitals, sure, if you want, but like literally the rest of the game was all Carolina. I don't see how the Capitals.
I still don't think they had the first period.
Yeah, I didn't see a ton. Yeah,
in there and most of it.
So I mean, are you saying that? Do we stick a fork in the Capitals?
If they put out not yet, but if they put out that effort again, I will. You cannot lose like that again if you're going to lose.
Yeah.
I'd even argue you can't lose. The next game is
I'd say if you played that bad and you lost an OT, you're doing something right.
Did they play that bad or did the Hurricanes play that good? I would argue it's the Hurricanes played that good.
Either way, we're talking about one overtime goal being the difference.
Fine. It's only one game. We got three.
We know which way the ice was tilted.
Yes, we got 3 games.
You can't be doing that many wrong things and come out with that close of a result.
Yeah. You can if Logan Thompson does what he did. You can.
Well,
Thompson turned in a gem.
Speaking of close results, by the way, just to shift gears here to the Western Conference, by the way, this is brought to you by CustomConcessions.net. We had 2 Game 7s that happened in between us recording podcasts. I want to touch on these real quick because I feel like we would.
Can I just say a great stat right now that you can get into the specifics?
Sure.
So in the history of the NHL, there have been of 2-goal comebacks in a third period to win a Game 7 in the history of the NHL. There's been 3 prior to last week, and last week we had 2.
Yeah,
craziest
first round of all time, I would argue.
So
is it the best? Is
embrace
the best all time? Maybe
what we're given as hockey fans last week.
We are so spoiled. We are so spoiled. Oh my god, amazing!
It was just incredible. But yeah, like I said, I just wanted to touch on these Game 7s real quick before we get into yesterday's game with the Oilers and everything. But yeah, the Stars over the Avalanche on Saturday. The Stars win 4-2.
Rantanen wins 4-2.
Mikko Rantanen, third period hat trick. He is the first ever hat trick in the third period of a Game 7 in NHL history, which is crazy. He's the first player in NHL history to have back-to-back 4-point games in the playoffs. He did that in literally 2 periods, by the way, because he had 4 points in one period of Game 6. He had 4 points in the period of Game 7.
I thought McDavid did it last year, something crazy like that. Maybe it was like a 4 and a 3. Maybe not.
I think it was like a 4. Yeah. Did you know also another fun stat? Did you know Mikko Rantanen has more points in the last 3 games, which is 11, than the 3 players involved in the trade for him? They have 10 points combined between their 19 combined games. They have 10 points. He has 11 in his last 3. So, and those 3 players are Taylor Hall, Marty Necas, and Jack Drury.
If I am the Avalanche GM, I think it's McFarland. I am never ever calling fucking Carolina's GM, I forget his name, ever again for trading him back to Dallas. Oh my god!
I guess that's why you set me up perfectly with my question I have here. Is this a legacy loss for the Colorado Avalanche? Because even after the game, McKinnon was like stunned. He's like literally they're down one of their best.
They're down 2 of their best players.
They're down their best defenseman. He's like I don't know what to even say. He's like I don't know I don't know what we do from here. And to have Nathan McKinnon say that, which is the face of your team, he's not the captain.
They don't have any young guys coming up.
He's taken 2 discounts for your team. You only have 1 cup to show for it, and 1 appearance past the second round.
It's just insane. So I don't know what the Avalanche are going to do moving forward from here. They had a 30-goal scoring defenseman, and they have Nathan McKinnon, and I don't know. You literally had the emotional lift of your captain coming back after 3 years, and they still found a way to blow a 2-goal. And they scored so quick in the third. They put a dagger. Like everybody thought that was the dagger. I thought it was the dagger. The only person that thought Dallas was going to come back was Linnea, and she doesn't really even watch. Like she watches hockey because I watch hockey. She's like, it's sports. You never know. And sure enough, we get back from having ice cream, and it's 2-2. And I was like, oh my god. And she's like, see what I tell you. But yeah, just absolutely insane. And then the other Game 7 that I wanted to touch on was obviously the Jets and Blues on Sunday night. The Jets, my God. If you thought Saturday was great, Sunday is even better.
It's arguably better. Yeah, arguably better.
Well, if you're a Jets fan.
Yeah.
The ultimate Big Cat meme. Shout out to Barstool Big Cat. Yeah, everybody thought they were dead. The Jets score with 1.8 seconds left in regulation. Cole Perfetti with Perfetti action. I think I might have to coin that, honestly.
Perfetti action.
Perfetti action. Scored twice. Adam Lowry gets the tip goal and double overtime. Again for Graham's stat. We get that multiple goal comeback in the third period. I mean, crazy. I guess I'll say, actually, you know what? I'll save that question when we talk about that series coming up. But I feel like that loss for the Blues is not as bad as the loss for the Avalanche. I think.
Oh, absolutely not. Yeah, not even.
You definitely had to take a lot more positives from the Blues aspect than you can from the Avalanche aspect.
The Stars Avalanche, that's a classic case of, take it from me, the Leafs fan. You're not actually playing a first round series. That could be your conference final. Dallas, Colorado, that could have been your conference final. Absolutely should have been. That's why it's so much harder to draw positives, because you still expect to win them.
Yeah.
The Avalanche we're still expecting to win that series. And the Blues, they're expecting to win, but like I said, is that your conference final tilt? No. Blues, Jets? No. That's not a conference final tilt.
Yeah, we, like Graham said, you said it so well. We were spoiled. That was just great hockey. That was a great game. That was literally everything as a Winnipeg fan, if you were in the building, you went through every
Oh.
emotion you probably could ever possibly imagine. You went from the lowest of lows to the highest of highs to like, we're gonna burn down the city, everything else.
Existential dread, you name it was there.
We'd love to get like a live view of Brittany Crawford like hyperventilating, because that's probably what was going on. So
I'm sure she was. Yeah, I'm sure she was.
So we'll transition into the game last night. The Oilers take care of business. They are the cardiac cats, and I've got one thing to say, Brock. Calvin Pickard, undefeated, baby.
Undefeated. Hey, I'll screenshot the group chat. I'll post that on social media and be like, hey, this is how they're going to do it. Just the backup goalie's going to have to go undefeated. I mean, the way they're playing, I'm not betting against them. Jesus Christ, man. When they turn it on.
Graham, I had another stat for you, too. Did you know it was the first time in NHL history a team has recorded 5 straight comeback wins, and them being the Edmonton Oilers?
Impressive.
That is, they are outscoring their opponents this postseason in the third period alone, 17-6. Yeah.
I
feel like the Oilers need, or most teams need, the first goal in the playoffs.
The Oilers do not.
The Oilers are not one of those
They
teams.
do not.
They will swarm you for 20 straight minutes. I don't know if it's going to be the first, second, or third period, but they're going to come out of one of the intermissions like a bat out of fucking hell. And you just have to endure that time span, or else, no, you're taking the L.
Yeah.
Vegas just has not looked as good defensively as they have in years past. Like, they look human through these first like few games of the postseason. Like, I don't know, man. That's not to downplay what the Oilers did. It's just they look human in comparison to years past where they look like crazy strong defensively.
I don't know. I mean, they're playing Kaprizov and Boldy, which is, for my money, a top 3 pairing in the league also.
I mean, also look at the size, or not the size, but like the skill of a Minnesota compared to an Edmonton.
I mean, Kaprizov is, for my money,
is one player.
Fine. But
And
I would
now
put
you're
him in
against
that tier.
multiple.
I'm just saying I would put him in that elite tier that's like one below McDavid. I'd put him up there. Like, it's
I think it's just kind of the first game, feel him out. Okay, let's see the pace. Like,
Maybe.
they're best of 7s for a reason.
Right.
Oh yeah.
It's nice to say, yeah, we got an early win or a convincing win to start the series. But there's a lot of these that are going to go the distance, that should go the distance, just based off of like team strengths.
I don't know if Calvin Pickard keeps playing the way he's playing. They may never lose again, Graham. That's what
He's
some
not
people
playing
are saying.
that great. Relax.
Also, the another, like, to your point with Vegas really struggling, they only registered 7 total shots after the first period. They had 17 total in the game. They had 10 in the first period, and they had 7 the next 2 periods. So just the possession, the control of the game of Edmonton was impressive. I guess this is my next question, and then we'll transition into the last series here. But like, is game 2 a must win for Vegas? Because I feel like you can't go down 2-0 and go back to Edmonton and feel like you have a fighter's chance in that series. I just from like the psyche of the room, I feel like, yes, they are an experienced group. They have, some of the guys have done it. They have guys in that room that have won cups, but like, to be down 2-0 to go to the madhouse, to go to Edmonton's barn, I feel like it's just not a good position to be in whatsoever.
I think there's a lot of people who have won on that Vegas roster throughout all levels of hockey that I don't think a 2-0 lead's going to crush them.
I'll echo that. Wasn't it just last year they went up 2-0 on Dallas and they played those 2 games on the road? Like, they won those 2 games in Dallas or something like that. And then I think Dallas beat them in 7, inevitably won. I think it was last year or the year before.
Yeah, they did play Dallas.
I know what happened against Dallas. So like, they could literally just look at each other and like, guys, this would just happen to us. Why can't we? Yeah, I'm with Graham. I don't think 2 games is enough to, say that series is over.
Well, we'll definitely see. They play game 2 tomorrow night, and I don't know. I feel like a lot of that momentum, if that Edmonton's gonna be riding, it has to be stopped. Otherwise, I just feel like they're gonna just keep rolling, and they're gonna be unstoppable. I just feel like they could take that momentum and turn it into a sweep. They have.
I think Vegas can have a statement game where it's like a 5-1 win.
I was just gonna say, imagine they win this next game 6-1. How are we talking?
They need it. Well, is Stuart Skinner going back in net if that happens?
Maybe.
We'll see. We'll see.
Maybe.
Well, to transition into our last series here, we have the Stars and Jets. They are playing right now. I'll grab a score update.
1-0 Winnipeg, but I don't know the
Nice.
goal scorer.
Okay. Well, that's perfect actually, because that was going to be my first question. Is like, now that the monkey is off the back of Winnipeg, and like this Connor Hellebuck, is he like literally in a no-lose situation now? Like he's got through the first round. Like I feel like all the pressure's off him, and I feel like you're going to get the Connor Hellebuck that you normally expect to get, like what we see in the regular season. Like you're going to get the best Connor Hellebuck from this point forward in the playoffs, just because the pressure's completely gone.
It's 1-1. So from the start of that phrase to the end of that phrase, the score is now tied.
Yeah. Well, they did get Jason Robertson back for the Stars. Mark Scheifele is back in the lineup for the Jets tonight as well. Heiskanen is still out, and then Josh Morrissey is also still out for Winnipeg. So it's kind of an eye for an eye and tooth for a tooth. But the way that
scored for Dallas,
Jason Robertson,
Mikko fucking Rantanen.
Oh, that figures. Well, he's got to catch up to your boy. He's got to catch up to Nylander in those points. So,
sure does.
But I guess the question to you guys, just the way that both these teams got here, and we both know that momentum. We all know that momentum is such a huge part in the playoffs, in hockey, and sports in general. Both these teams could not be carrying more momentum into this series. So, is this the whole situation of the unmovable force meets the what's the phrase here, with the unstoppable force meets the unmovable object, if you will, kind of situation? Like, does anybody carry more momentum into the series? I mean, I guess you could maybe say Dallas just because they got Jason Robertson back, but I don't know. I see it both ways.
No, I agree. I think it's very even. If you want to talk about like just momentum, if it is equal, we're looking at like a 9 OT game here.
I mean, that would be wild. I think I'm gonna disagree with you guys a bit here, just because of like the connotation surrounding these two teams, like what we just talked about with those 2 Game 7s over the weekend. Now the winner of those 2 games are playing each other, and we just said that one of those teams was playing in a conference final and the other was not. So for my money, the momentum that Dallas gained from their win over Colorado has to be greater than the momentum gained by the Jets, who frankly just squeaked by the Blues, and Hellebuck looked shaky at best. I don't know. Like, I'm not saying they have no momentum. I'm just saying, like, if you're going to compare the two, I don't think that the Winnipeg momentum is nearly as good as Dallas's.
Well, just to counterpoint you too, Colorado outshot Dallas by 68, and Dallas still found a way to win that series. So
I stand by it. I think Colorado was the better team, and that's what happened.
I will say to Dalton's earlier point when it comes to Hellebuck, that at least he can rest knowing that he doesn't have to be his best, and that he could still win a round in the playoffs.
If you're looking for silver linings, yeah.
Now, I mean, there's not much positives to say with him between the crease that series, other than at points he looked like an NHL goalie.
Mm-hmm.
But he's got to turn it on. Like, if they want to go far in this postseason, he's got to be the Vezina winning goalie that we.
He's got to be their best player.
Yeah, 100%. He's literally the McDavid and Draisaitl for Winnipeg. Like, his
pads are just bigger.
Yeah, exactly.
Not
See,
by
you
much.
get it.
Not by much.
No.
They're content size. Okay?
They're fairy size pads.
They're fairy size pads.
Yes, exactly. So we'll see. But I guess if you had to pick one key, so Graham, pick a key for Winnipeg to win the series, and then Brock, tell me a key for Dallas winning the series.
Hellebuck's got to be confident. He has to believe that he's going to stop every puck he sees. Whether or not he does, he has to believe that it's going to happen.
Okay.
Because Dallas is capable of just burying the puck in that net with their top 3 lines. So he's got to match every shot that they give him.
I was just going to say, I think that Dallas's key is going to be their depth. Like, it feels like the easy pick for me because it's not their defense. That's not to say Jake Ottinger's not good in his own right, because he is. But I think that third and fourth line battle is where Dallas is going to win this series. And at the top, I don't think Winnipeg has a Mikko Rantanen. Like, I love Kyle Connor. I love Mark Scheifele. I don't think they're anywhere near Mikko Rantanen's tier
That's
of play. And
Yeah,
even you
hand
got
up.
Jason Robertson. You've got Wyatt Johnston, Sagan, Ben look like they're turning some years back. They're playing well. Dallas's 4 lines are just ridiculous.
I do think that Winnipeg has the advantage when it comes to physicality in this series, though.
Based on what?
They did have the most
Based
amount of
on how
hits
they
of
play.
any team.
Like
Yeah,
if you looked at the Colorado Dallas, like their hits were just like regular season, like cut you off kind of hit, like not through the body. Like Winnipeg has a lot of guys that can hit you hard.
I'll reserve judgment until I see the series play out a little bit before I.
Not to say Dallas doesn't have those
I would-
players.
yeah, I was
just
gonna
think
say, like-
the amount definitely favor Winnipeg.
How many guys in Colorado, do you really need to bruise up though? Like, and how many of those guys are bruisers? Like, I'm not convinced that.
That's
that
what I'm
was the
saying. In
type of-
Colorado, they didn't really have those guys.
So, okay, so
But I'm
let's
saying
see.
Winnipeg does.
Okay, so now I'm saying that I think Dallas is better at that than you're giving them credit for. Is what I'm saying. They didn't need to be
They have
physical
guys.
against Colorado. Okay, well, we'll see.
we definitely will see. So
It's not to say physicality is going to win playoff games.
But it does. See the Florida Panthers. Oh, wait. Suck it!
All right. Well, it is 1-1. We will transition into the lighter parts of this episode. We got to put some people in the bin.
Yes.
By the way, the bin is sponsored by Warlord Beard Oil. Make sure to check out the website, warlordbeardoil.com. Use the promo code OLDSPORTS for 15% off beard oils, washes, soaps, and more. And make sure if you spend $75 or more, you get free shipping. Brock actually said they had some great baby oil choices on the website. So maybe they can put that into the repertoire there. But actually, that leads me into it perfectly. Graham, who'd you want to put in the bin this week?
I don't. Is it Rockstar Games? I don't know because Grand Theft Auto 6 has been delayed now until 2026.
Oh no!
So for context, the last time a Grand Theft Auto game was released, Giroux was on the cover of NHL 13 in a Flyer sweater.
Nice.
The PS2 has had 3 Grand Theft Auto games, while Grand Theft Auto 5 has had 3 PlayStations. When can we get this new one?
I will say this. I did not know it got delayed, but we were talking about this last night. This better be the best goddamn video game ever friggin' created. Like, the amount of delays and the amount of hype around this game, it better shatter all expectations.
It's going to get the sales no matter what.
I'm just saying. I was never a big Grand Theft Auto lover. I never cared for it. I honestly was bored when I played it. It better, like, revolutionize people's opinion of games. Like, this has been so hyped. This is ridiculous.
I had no idea you were such a GTA fan, Graham. That was news to me.
We all were.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. All right.
You
Well,
grew up
Brock,
on the mean streets like I did? Oh, man. We needed that
Okay,
game.
here we go.
Nice. All right, well, Brock, who do you want a big candidate? Who are you putting in the bin?
I did read this, so I'm gonna take this. Like, I read it outside of the pod, and I'm glad you put this in here. The Colorado Avalanche, and again, not to add insult to injury to the discussion we just gave them, but they are the first team in MLB, NBA, and NHL history to lose 7 consecutive Game 7 losses.
I am
like
so
that.
happy that fan is reading that.
It almost feels like it has to be the Leafs, but it's not. It's the Avs, and I almost didn't believe it when I first read it. Yeah, they are the first team in those, not all 4 leagues, because I guess there's no such thing as Game 7 in NFL, right?
Right.
Because your playoffs are stupid. Ha ha ha.
Also, Nathan McKinnon 0-4 in Game 7s, which is just unbelievable. Yeah,
That's
it
a
almost
stat.
makes
That's a
you think he plays for Toronto with that kind of stat. So,
Okay. 2-0, baby. 2-0.
Nice.
Suck it.
Fair enough. Well, I wanted to. This actually goes really well because I put this in our group chat. You told me it wasn't a basketball chat, so I'm going to go ahead and put the Boston Bruins in the bin, and also I'm going to add the Boston Celtics to that as like a double dip on the whole city of Boston. So, first of all, the Boston Bruins are going to the bin because according to the NHL affordability index, they were the most expensive team to root for this season. It cost you on average $460 to be a fan, and that's per like experience or per game, if you will, because that number takes into the cost of fan products, ticket prices, TV cost, a beer, a hot dog, and parking. So they led the league, and they announced, I think, a couple weeks ago that they weren't going to reduce ticket prices. They were actually going to raise them. So they have a bottom 6 team. It's cost you a lot of money to go to games, which is just crazy to me. Toronto was second, but at least Toronto is making splashes this year. They're giving you a product on the ice that is maybe worth paying that amount of money for. Just insane to me. And then the Boston Celtics are down 0-2 to the Knicks. They blew another 20-point lead tonight in the playoffs. I know this isn't a basketball podcast, so I'm going to leave this nice and short and sweet. But, like, unbelievable that just the Knicks were built to beat the Celtics. They literally spent their whole offseason to put their team together to beat one team, and it's working. And it's just so fascinating to watch a team blow multiple 20-point leads in back-to-back games. And then I also wanted to add the Minnesota Wild to the bin because they're the first team in major sports history. Again, that's being the NBA, MLB, NFL, and the NHL to make the playoffs 8 times out of a 10-year span and lose in the first round every year. So tough. I think there's going to be greener pastures in Minnesota, though. They're getting out of cap hell. They're going to have a little bit more money to spend. The cap's going up. I think that streak will come to an end a lot sooner than Buffalo as well. So we'll see what happens.
Kick on Buffalo, guys. We gotta stop.
Yeah. No, I love Tage Thompson. He's on my fantasy team. So that was In the Bin, sponsored by Warlord Beard Oil. Make sure to check out warlordbeardoil.com. Use that promo code Old Sports for 15% off, and make sure you spend $75. Get a nice stock up. You get some free shipping out of it. So check out our friends at warlordbeardoil.com. Now we got to get positive, and it's time to give out the C. And giving out the C this week is sponsored by or brought to you by our friends at SeatGeek. Make sure to download the SeatGeek app. Use the promo code Old City Sports Network for $20 off your first purchase. You can go to a playoff game from us here Between the Benches and Old City Sports Network. Get 20% off courtesy of us. It's baseball season 2. Brock, who are you giving the C to this week?
Man, I'll be honest. I didn't want to go first because I just was going to pick whichever one you guys didn't. But,
I'm going off script, so you go ahead.
Okay. I'm going to take Poetic Justice because
Nice.
I really think that Mikko Rantanen recording that hat trick against his former team. Pardon?
It's a movie script. Like, when I read this,
it is. Yeah. In the season opener against Vegas, the date being October 9th. I think that's October 9th. Yeah, because the 9th wouldn't make sense as a month there. And they recorded a hat trick in the Avs' final game of the season on the May 5th, 2025. Like, that's just, yeah. Like, how else do you? The story writes itself with that one.
Really?
I don't know how else to tell you.
Let the script writers.
Yeah.
Started the season with a hat trick and then ended his former team's season with a hat trick, and that is just poetic justice.
Like I said, I am never talking to Carolina's GM ever again. If I'm the Colorado Avalanche ever again, hang up the phone. Don't even bother calling me.
He had to puke that morning. There's no way he did. But all right, Graham, who are you giving your C2 this week?
Gavin McKenna.
Nice.
So he has broken. Let me just pull it up. I take a screenshot of this stuff. So he has surpassed the former Remparts forward Alexander Radulov for the longest point streak in CHL history, or not history, of the century. He now has over, at the time, 51 game point streak, and it could be even more. So 51 consecutive games with a point. I know we talk about this kid a lot for next year, and we always silence ourselves when we bring up his name.
Save it.
But
I'm doing it right now. Save it.
Right.
Yeah. No, he is just incredible. Some of the highlights too. It's just like,
it's a great time to suck, if you're a fan of a bad team.
Well said, Graham.
Speaking of that, dog, who are you giving your C to?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm glad you asked. I had 2 C's to give. I had a C, a C, and then the least C, if you will. The first C I wanted to give out to Wyatt Johnston because at 21 years old, he has played in 3 Game 7s with the Dallas Stars, and he scored in all 3 of them. So big-time player, makes big-time plays in big-time games. That's Wyatt Johnston. Brock had a chubby for him in fantasy this year. Definitely going to be looking out for him next season come fantasy time. Just somebody to keep in mind there. I wanted to give the C to the Utah Mammoth as well. We kind of teased this last week in our Around the Rink. It finally got confirmed today.
We
Great
had
logo,
the
by the
scoop.
way.
We had the scoop.
Yeah, great logo. Officially taking over the Utah Mammoth for the Utah Hockey Club. And if you look at the logos they chose, they had like 3 that the fans could pick from, but I think they combined 2 of them. They combined like the Mammoth with the mountains, which I thought was a really cool idea. But now they also become the 6th active franchise in the NHL to wear a black sweater for their primary home jersey. So something a little fun there. And then my least C, which I can't believe neither one of you took this, but I'm going to go with Canadian teams because for the first time since 2004, we have 3 Canadian teams in the second round of the playoffs. We officially have 3 out of the 8 teams, almost a 50% chance for the cup to go back home to north of the border, if you will. I mean, we'll save this for like the last part of this, but like I feel like if it doesn't happen this year, then I don't know if it's ever destined to happen, to be honest with you.
You just need one.
That's right. You just need one.
Shut up, America.
Okay. All right. Well, I had a nice little way to end the episode tonight. I want to do one for the road. So I'm going to ask you guys this question. If you had to gun to your head, if you had to rank the remaining teams with 1 being the best chance to win the cup and 8 being the least amount of chance to win the cup, how would you rank the remaining teams left and their cup chances? So like, just hypothetically, it'd be like, Florida, Toronto, Edmonton, blah, 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 blah.
Well,
blah,
Toronto 8th.
All right, well, hold on.
For
How
sure.
about we go one at a time? So we don't pick 8. So Brock, you pick
Edmonton
You want to do a
most,
draft?
most
Edmonton won.
likely.
Edmonton 1. They are way too hot.
Wow.
They're
Okay.
way too
won.
hot. They're way too hot.
Wow. Listen to you. Do you hear yourself?
Well, I'm going Vegas too. Dalton.
Dalton go 3.
Oh, I'll take Dallas. And by the way, Dallas is up 2-1. Mikko Rantanen scored again.
I posted that in our little groupie chatty group.
Nice. Yeah, I'll take Dallas. Dallas.
Dallas 3 is a good one. See, I don't agree with Vegas at 2. Give me Carolina.
I have them winning the cup.
Give me Carolina at 4.
Is good.
Wow, you guys are gonna. Okay, go ahead.
Oh man, I want to go Florida, but they lost it. And I'm going Florida.
I was gonna say I'm taking whichever one you don't take. I'm taking
Yeah.
Toronto. Yeah, Toronto for
Toronto
sure.
6. That's way too high. I guess like I don't want to insult Winnipeg because from what I've seen over like when I'm
Oh,
watching
Dan is
it,
not a fan of the Oilers, by the way. He said
Who is it?
the Oils suck. Dan
the Oil
Linsky.
sucks. I mean that's a fair
That's why I
statement.
picked Vegas.
You're allowed to feel that way. I just would encourage you to watch them play.
Calvin Picker 5-0, baby.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna put Winnipeg at 7, leaving Washington at 8 because that showing in
Washington
game.
8.
But they of all the game ones we've seen so far, they look the worst. Far and
Oh,
away.
100%.
Far and away. It's not close.
100%. Yeah. 100%. So, well, I'm
That's
glad
good.
I was gonna say nice little exercise. I might save that. That might be our new outro, if you will. One for the road. So, well, fair enough. Well, from myself, Dak, the rest of the boys, Graham, Big Canada Daddy, we are the Between the Benches podcast, sponsored by Old City Sports Network. Make sure to check out Old City Sports Network. Dan, it says until they get hurt again. So
Nice.
we'll
I mean,
see.
there's only really 3 people that need to get hurt to have an impact on that team. So
No, I'd argue it's just one.
Well, yeah, they can't
Calvin
survive.
Pickard.
They can't
Calvin
survive.
Pickard.
Yeah.
What are they gonna do if Calvin Pickard gets hurt?
oh, that's right.
Come
Yeah,
on.
they're one Stuart Skinner away.
That's
from blowing
right.
this.
That
Come
is-
on.
And the good news is for Stuart Skinner, though, the harmonicas are gone, so they don't have to. He doesn't have to worry about the harmonicas anymore.
You have this weird fetish with the harmonicas, and I don't know
Hey.
I don't know how I feel about it.
They worked. They've saved the big guns, and they worked. They
Sure
worked.
did.
So,
Okay.
thanks for joining us this evening. We are the Between the Benches podcast. Make sure to check us out on Instagram, social media, YouTube, Facebook, everything in between. Give us a like, follow, check us out next week, and we will see you then.